Altergeist versus... Wait, it is Raidraptor. Raidraptor versus Altergeist. I was thinking this is Flaunderies, but we're actually Raidrapted. Begin. Huh? That's a regular Raidraptor turn 1, unfortunately. Yes, it is. Now we're going to Pukeri, which is going to use our hand to link summon. So we got a link to play into Altergeist Hextia. Hextia's got that nice summon cut-in animation. The Pukeri is going to add itself in the graveyard back to our hand here. To battle we go. Also not a big play. Not big enough to swing over an Ash Blossom at only 1,500 attack. Now, the Hextia states that when a spell or trap card is activated, you contribute an Altergeist that this card points to negate. And if sent from the field to the graveyard, you could add an Altergeist card from your deck to your hand. So both players, not so good. But we do have a way to get an Altergeist in the field, and that's through the Conch. The Conch is when the opponent declares an attack, this will special summon itself onto the field, thus giving us something to tribute to negate a spell or trap card. Let's go, let's go. Both players did not open up well. We have all hand traps. I was talking to Gia about this, and she said if you open up 2 hand traps, too many, you have no freaking play. Now we got the Prime Banshee linking off with the in-hand Pukeri, which is going to be attempting to search our deck with the Hexteria being sent to the grave. The Ash Blossom is going to negate no search for you, mate. 2,100, finally big enough to take out an Ash Blossom. Now, during the main phase, you could tribute one other Altergeist to special summon an Altergeist from your deck. Again, we have no other Altergeist to tribute. Top decking a second copy of Max C. Raidraptor is completely bricked, and they are playing a 40-card deck, so what the hell's going on? We have Ash Blossom negating that early activated within the draw phase Max C, because we plan on special summoning. Now's the time. We're going to summon our Meluseek, which can attack directly, then send a card in the field to the graveyard after dealing damage. Open field, 2,100. Within the main phase, we could tribute off the Meluseek to summon from the deck our Multi-Faker. That's also going to trigger the Meluseek to search our deck for an Altergeist, as the Multi-Faker special summons from the deck another Altergeist. That's going to be our Selquatos. We're going to be chaining Droll and Lockbird to the Malwisp, triggering after being added to the hand to special summon itself onto the field, which is not going to be stopping it, but Droll will be preventing further searching your deck for the rest of the turn. Now, the Malwisp on summon is going to be reborning the Pukeri, the Pook, as we then link this up into a link for Adminia. Adminia on summon is going to set an Altergeist trap directly from the deck, and this is why you could see we definitely wanted to negate that Max C. Also adding back our Multi-Faker from the grave to our hand. We've got Protocol. Protocol is going to be able to negate any monster effect and prevent your own Altergeist cards from being negated. As we now make a Hextia. Hextia will be able to be the spell trap card negate. And just like that, Raidraptor losing to itself, completely bricked up. Let's hop into game 2. Bloom Vulture, special summoning itself, plus the Norlanius. You can see the 2 counters onto the Nibiru. The Norlanius is going to be negated from searching our deck for a monster that could summon itself onto the field. So we have to make that Arsenal Falcon within 5 summons. We're going straight into Y-Strix early instead of the Raiders Knight. Okay, so we're playing into a Nibiru, unfortunately. Raiders Knight, just like that. Nibiru tribute up the entire field. You're not able to get out the Arsenal Falcon early to play around the Nibiru. Thus, we're now ending on just a token as the Fuzzy searches for another Fuzzy during the end phase. We could have normal summoned it, plus another monster make another play, but we didn't have another monster to make that play. Now, the Raidraptor trap face down does nothing. You need to control another Raidraptor to negate a monster in the field. Now, we are going to Marionetter set from the deck a Protocol. Protocol is going to be able to negate any monster effect, that is, right? Send to negate the activation of a monster, yes. We're going to flip up the Protocol, triggering the Multi-Faker to summon from the deck a Selquatos. This can now return a card the opponent controls back to the hand, so we have a negated monster and spin back. Can we play through that double disruption? The Bloom Vulture is incredible. When you have no monster in the field, while it's in the graveyard, it can reborn itself plus another monster. So we don't even have to commit to our normal summon. We're going to use the Protocol to negate. So that's 1 disruption. We have to play through the second one, which is the Selquatos. Can we do so? Fuzzy on someone's going to trigger the Samorg to summon itself onto the field, returning back to Fuzzy. Now, Fuzzy could special summon itself onto the field if we controlled a Raidraptor, and unfortunately, the Samorg is not a Raidraptor. Thus, we're going to the battle phase to wipe out the Selquatos. And let's get to it. Returning back that Multi-Faker. If we could flip up a trap, we're able to summon our Multi-Faker from the hand. We're going to set up our Selquatos with our Nibiru, wiping out that Samorg. 800 to the face. Let's get to it. Now, I mean, didn't we? Okay, so this states that target a face-up monster your opponent controls, and it states that negate that card's effects. And this says that the activation and effects of your Altergeist cards cannot be negated. So we could have attempted to negate the Silcotos, but it can't be negated due to the protocol, thus we were spun back to the hand. Against any other deck, this could have helped us through that disruption. So again, it's going to be a problem. We're going to Bloom Vulture. Again, Bloom Vulture going to be negated by the protocol. Protocol is going to tribute off our monster to negates. Now, the Multi-Faker does not trigger off of a trap effect. It has to be a trap card activation. Activate a trap card. We activate the effective one, not the card. Thus, we don't get the special summon from the hand. We're going to activate Skill Drain. And then we're going to chain Call by the Grave onto the Silcotos. And then we're just scooping. We are out of here. Ain't no way. I'm very sorry. Raidraptor, you got Nibiru'd. Let's hop into the next match. Begin. We have Quem is here. Quem is top tier. Send from the deck a Golden Sword Soul on its summon. We're now making a Huggin. Now, what's very important about this play is many people would start off their play with Runic Dispelling in the draw phase to play around, let's say, an Effect Veiler. But what's more prevalent? An Ash Blossom. So because of that, we go to the main phase, which makes us susceptible to a Veiler, which not many people are playing compared to an Ash Blossom. We summon the Huggin with the Quem on the field to chain link block the Huggin so it does not get Ash Blossom, just like this. Because when a monster leaves the extra monster zone, that's going to trigger the Quem, chain link 2. You're now protected from Ash Blossom. So I've seen a lot of people saying, hey, I tried picking up Bystial Runic and I just keep on getting Ash Blossomed. You're just not playing correctly. You got to block the Ash. We have an Omni Negate. We have Bystial, which will be able to destroy a monster if it activates. We have the Baldrake, which could banish an extra deck monster. So we have about triple disruption, plus the Ghost Ogre, which could destroy a monster if it's activating. Let's get to it. Let's do it. Start off with the Foolish Barrel Goods. We're going to chain Forbidden Droplet. By sending the Shayama to the graveyard, you now cannot chain the Baron to floor. And that's going to be negating Dissipator and Baron to floor. So now we're down to just the Baldrake and the Ghost Ogre. We have Triva Karma in Graveyard Banishing to grab from our deck the field spell here. Now we're going to use the Shayama in grave, pop on our face down Unchained Trap to summon itself from the grave to reborn, summon from the deck a Shavara. As we now make a Wave King High Caesar, which could now negate the summon of the Baldrake. So the Baldrake's no good. We just have Ghost Ogre. We're going to be activating the field spell. Now, Ghost Ogre, why didn't it activate here? It can't be activated in response to the activation of a spell or trap card. It can be activated in response to the effect activating if it's already been face up. So it does not stop it. We have Rhinoheart on summon send from the deck, a Hovnis. Hovnis is now going to be fusing with our field, hand, or grave to make our Kit Kalos. Kit Kalos on summon is going to be triggering to grab from our deck as we also trigger the field spell to pop a card in the field. Now we could Ghost Ogre, pop the field spell. Now we could have chain link blocked the field spell if we want to play around a card like Ghost Ogre, which no one's playing, so that would have been wild to play around. And instead the Kit Kat would have been popped, which would not have been that big of a deal because it would have then milled 5. We're going to be adding or sending a Tearlament from the deck to the graveyard or to our hand. And by the way, Duel Links just added chain link orders. You could now manually set your chain link orders. I say just, they did it maybe a month or two ago. So that's a very good change, right? Keep on talking about chain link blocking and putting them in the correct orders. You can now do that in Duel Links. Thank you. We're going to send from the deck a Tearlament Cashier to mill 2. Then we're going to use Kit Kat to reborn it from the grave, sending itself to the grave to then now mill an additional 8 cards. So mill 10 total. So we send it mill 2, reborn it mill 3, then mill 5. What are we milling here? We got a Sharama in the graveyard now. Meta Noise, Chainlink Block, and the Hovnis. This is where Baldrake really wants to banish the Hovnis to stop the Fusion Summon. But the Wave King Caesar is going to negate the Baldrake from coming out. Now we got the Sharon returning back for 3 to come forth and summon Kaleido Heart. The Ghost Ogre is a hard once per turn, unlike Effect Veiler, which can be used more than once per turn on summon. We're going to spin the Dissipator on the field back into the deck. Shavara being sent to the grave, triggering to set an Unchained card from the deck. We now have our Chamber. Damn, Unchained Tearlament, Gia. This is your deck. You like Unchained? Let's go. You gave him the spicy room access because he's playing Unchained. Well, you see it. It's doing stuff. Very good. Quem is here on Summon Send from the deck, a Golden Sword Soul, as we now use the Lubellion from the hand to send itself to the grave to search for a Bystial Baldrake, Magna Hut, banishing the Golden Sword Soul. Let's set up our Flash Fire as disruption instead of using it to search for the field spell because we have no other way to trigger the field spell to draw cards. So what do we have here on the opponent's turn? We have Dissipator, which is going to reborn and be able to destroy a monster if a card is banished or negated. We have Baron to Floor on negate. We have Flash Fire, destroy a special summon monster. We have Baldrake, banish a monster from the extra deck on its summon. So we have about 4 disruptions. Let's go. Sharon activating to send a card from our hands to the grave to then mill 3. Triggering the Fiendish Rhino to send for the deck of Shiyama. Shiyama's going to pop our set Droplet to reborn from the graveyard. Shiyama's now going to destroy Sharon to trigger her effect to fuse and pop a back row card without targeting it. Baron to Floor is going to negate. We're now down to triple disruption. We're going to change Shavara, which does not dodge the disruption, but because the disruption is destroying the Shiyama, we may as well get out our Shavara for free. Come forward, Shavara. And with Shavara on the field, we're locked into Fiend monsters only. So what do we do with a Shavara and a Sharon? We're going to triple Tactics Talent, go for a draw 2 play, come to me, a Grief. We're going to be linking them off into a Soul of Rage, which can only link off with the opponent's monster during their turn. Shavara trigger, set a trap from the deck as the Dissipator is now being reborn because you summoned a card. Very good. There's nothing banished with the Dissipator, does not have its disruption yet. Escape of the Unchained is here. We're going to Tear Limit Grief, summon a Tear from the deck or grave, then send it to the graveyard to trigger a fusion play. Sharon trigger to fuse, Baldrake, chain, banish. The Droplet's not going to help us here. Goodbye to you. That was actually not considered one of the main disruptions here. Because a card was banished face up, the Golden Sword Soul is going to trigger to summon from the hand or engrave the Cartesia onto the field, Flash Fire, wiping out the Soul of Rage. Soul of Rage trigger to add a Torgai in the graveyard back. We have Dissipator, negate. We have Droplet, negate the negate may. I don't think so. Send to the grave, negate Dissipator. We don't have a normal summon, do we? I don't think we normal summoned. We still have a normal summon, so we could actually add that Tour Guide and summon it right here, right now. Let's go. Tour Guide main phase 2. Tour Guide, come forth and summon from the deck a Dark Spirit of the Banishment. What the heck is that? We're now making a Grangranol off of that play because you summon a monster through a monster effect. Grangranol is going to send a Malong. Malong's going to return the Tour Guide back to the hand. Oh my Jesus, Grangranol. Ain't no way. Very well done. Using Malong as disruption through Grangranol. We have Baron to Floor returning itself back to the extra to reborn from Engrave a Cartesia. We're going to use the Abominable Unchained Chamber to reborn our Soul of Rage. We're going to use the Baldrake to banish the Soul of Rage, which we can't activate Soul of Rage. It's a quick effect only during the main phase. So because we summoned it in the standby phase, the Baldrake does not say that the monster that is a link has to come from the extra deck if it's special summoned, and it was summoned from the graveyard, so we're going to banish it before it could even activate. So we did mistime our reborn trap in a window where it can't even chain to the Baldrake banishing it. Regained also triggering. Yeah, that's too much. Damn, let's take this into a game 3. We have Abomination Prison, searching our deck for the Unchained Soul. Shavara, Baldrake, and Serenir are really good for stopping the Tear Limit fusions, unfortunately, for Tear Limit. But if we're able to make our High King Caesar, we could negate the Bystials from being summonable. And we can actually negate both of them from being summoned with one Wave King Caesar. Shavara being sent to the grave, setting up an escape of the Unchained. Now, the Hovness is no good in the hand. There needs to be a monster activated on the field on the opposing side to be able to chain to it. We're going to trigger the Escape of the Unchained with the Aruha being summoned from the hand to summon from the deck of Sarama. Sarama set a trap from the grave, then pop the Aruha to summon from the deck of Rakea. Rakea get popped with a Shayama and Graveyard to reborn, to then trigger the Rakea to summon from the deck a second copy of Shavara, which TCG can't do this because Shavara is limited to 1. We're now making an Unchained Soul of Rage plus the Wave King Caesar. We know the Wave King Caesar's coming, so we have to be using our Baldrake before it gets summoned, and now we're banishing the Yama. And we're also banishing the Sarama. So, oh my gosh, this is just not good. We got the Yama and Sarama into the graveyard to make the Soul of Rage before making the Wave King Caesar. And now when we make a Wave King Caesar, it's going to get banished by tributing off the Serenir. So we did mess up our summon order here big time. Oh no. Huge problem. We can't make a Wave King Caesar without it getting banished. We have triple tactics talent though to take control. So there we go. All right, we're fine. That saved us big time. We can now safely make that Wave King Caesar. And we're gonna be further linking that off into a Soul of Anguish. Soul of Anguish could then use the Serenir to make the Soul of Rage again. Oh, because we're playing a hybrid version of Unchained, we ran out of Unchained cards in the extra deck. We would have a second copy of Yama and a Pure Unchained. We would have a second copy of Soul of Rage and a Pure Unchained to be made here, but we don't because we didn't at least want to make a Unchained Abomination? Huh, that is interesting. Okay, well, let's go. Now, we have a Dead Crime. We have 2 special summon negates. We have the Chamber to Reborn the Soul of Rage to link off with the monster, to then into a Little Knight, into another banish. So we have about 5 disruptions with this play. And if we activate a monster on the field, the Hovness will summon a Mill 3, which will maybe turn into Disruption. Runic Dispelling in the draw phase, special summoning our Huggin here. Huggin on summon, discard a card, search our deck for a field spell. This does play right into an Ash Blossom if they were to have one. All right, let's now send for Little Knight. Little Knight on summon. Banish a card on the field or in the graveyard, taking out the Wave King Caesar, which has 2 disruptions tied to it, and it's good. So from 5 disruption, we're now down to 3 as we lose our Wave King Caesar. Now Shavara setting up an escape from the deck. The Wave King Caesar can only negate an effect to special summon, not an inherent special summon itself. We're setting up the Runic Fountain, forcing them to banish 4 cards off the top of their deck, to now return 3 cards engraved back in the deck to draw 3. We're now going to turn Little Knight into a Typhon. With Typhon on the field, 3,000 or more attack from either player cannot activate. We're going to reborn that Soul of Rage. Activate to link off of the Sky Crisis. We're going to chain Flash Fire to destroy. So as we attempt our main extra 3 disruptions, we now have from 3 to 0. 0 disruption. Now, I say we have 0, but I don't know how their deck is built. What they could do here is they could, with Shavara, pop a back row card, which could be the escape, to then summon from the deck an Abominable Unchained. That Abominable Unchained on summon will discard a card to pop a card in the field non-targeting. So this is our final secret disruption that we may go into. The Abominable, how big is Abominable? Isn't it 3,000 attack? It actually can't activate with the Typhon on the fields. It's not even activatable, so we have nothing. And we're going into that play. We're doing exactly that, right? Uh-oh, not activatable. On summon activate, but can't activate because of the Typhon. We thought it could. Detach, spinning back the Soul of Anguish back to the extra deck. As we now end our turn, we have Veiler, Freezing Curses, and Runic Fountain to draw at least 2 cards during their turn. We can negate a monster on the field. This is what's disgusting about the Typhon, is that I'm noticing stun decks, not that Runic Bystial's a stun deck, but stun decks are now making this easily, and then they're just protecting it. And now it's essentially a 3,000 attack or more floodgate cannot activate. We have the Unchained. Oh my gosh, this is a card that's supposed to link off with Typhon, but it's boosted up to 3,000 attack because it gains 300 attack for each Unchained card in your graveyard, which we don't want the boost right now. We don't want it to be boosted, so we're gonna make a Anguish. Anguish could link off with the Typhon, but the Freezing Curses can negate it. We're gonna use the Wailing of the Unchained, and then we're going to now get Effect Veilered and not Freezing Curses. So we cannot link up with that Sky Crisis, but we are big enough to just attack into it. We're going to further link this up into a Little Knight. Little Knight is here on summon, banishing that field spell. Now, how do we get the field spell back if you're a Bystial Runic player? Not that I want to give you advice. This card is limited to 1. Dispater is going to be that way. So when the opponent activates a card, return it back to the deck, and that's going to be our main way to get it back, and we desperately want it back. Quam off the top of the deck, to battle we go. Just don't activate anything while there's a Little Knight on the field. Wipe it out. And we have Quem, which we can now chain our Hovness to, which turns on our Crime only if we have a monster in the hand, which we don't. On summon, mill 3. We did not mill anything that could trigger. As we send a Cartesia from the deck to the grave, we're going to Freezing Curses, summon a Huggin, trigger in the Quem to reborn the Cartesia from the graveyard. Cartesia is now going to activate the Fusion Summon with the Golden Sword Soul in the hand to now make our Grand Granol. We got 6,900 damage on the field, but we do not have a battle phase. Garura being sent to the grave to draw into our Max C. Shokan into Chaos Angel on summon, banish a card. No banish. Oh, we summon Chaos Angel, no banish. Why would we not banish? I don't understand. Light monster unaffected by monster effects on... Oh, we can't because of Typhon. There you go. Typhon turned off our own Chaos Angel. There we go. Damn, Typhon also stopping us. Havnis taking out the Quem as we then activate for a grass that's going to mill 5 cards. That's it. Mill 5. I mean, mill 5 is pretty good. Mill 5. They'll never make a spell card that just says mill 5. That would be too good. We have the Rhino in graveyard sending a Shabar from the deck to the grave to set up a chamber. Ending our turn. Crime is still dead. Crime is not activatable unless we have a monster in hand. We can't battle. We can't swing in. One of the biggest downsides of Bystial Runic is they don't have that OTK pressure, which means if they max C you, you should probably just end your turn because they're not going to be able to one-turn kill you afterward, and thus their max C is not as good. We're going to flip up our chamber. Chamber is going to be met with a max C as we are reborning from the graveyard. Baldrake is also going to be banishing the Anguish. Now, the chamber does not target, so we could choose a different monster we want to summon from the graveyard instead of the Soul of Anguish, which is going to be our Soul of Disaster. Too big to use its effect. Notice how we did not take out the Typhon. We're leaving the Typhon on the field to instead take out the Baldrake. Very interesting. Setting up our Droplet. Let's go. Drew a Swarm off the top of the deck. We're going to be banishing for the opponent's graveyard Abominable Unchained Soul, triggering the Golden Sword Soul to reborn a Cartesia or Quem. Quem on summon, send from the deck another Quem. Into main phase, we're going to send the Druiswarm to summon our Bystial Lubellion to trigger the Druiswarm to send a special summon monster to the grave. Goodbye to the Soul of Disaster. We're going to use Droplet to send 2 to negate 2 cards in the field, negating the Lubellion and Chaos Angel. No, whoa, negate 3. We sent 3. So we are negating all but the Typhon here. Bystial Lubellion cannot set up a branded regain from the deck. Wait. We have lethal? No, not lethal. 8150 on the field, but they had a monster to block some damage. 150 life off from lethal damage. Ain't no way. Damn. Rhino Heart on summon, send from the deck a Sharon. Sharon's going to be returning 2 cards back to come forth to make a Kick Cow. Is there no runic card with any attack points on it? 0 attack, so Battle Phase swing in, not enough for lethal. Kick Cow on summon's going to send from the deck a Tearlamy Kashtira. We have to remember, the Typhon is still active. So if we were to summon a Kaleido Heart to spin a card in the field, it's not going to be activatable. Tearlamy Kashtira is going to mill 3, Kick Cow mill 5 after we already milled 2. So milling 10 cards total here. We milled a Sharon to trigger. We also milled a Heartbeat to add back the crime. We also milled a Scream to add a trap from the deck. So we're adding 2 traps to our hand. As we also, did we not trigger the Sharon? No Sharon trigger. Wait, it was already activated this turn to make the Kick Cow. That's why. Now, what is good with this? The crime, again, this entire duel has been dead. You need a monster in the hand to be able to negate anything, but the Sulliek is still active. It's going to negate a monster in the field, and then we're going to randomly mill 2, and if we do not mill a Tearlament to trigger a fusion, we lose. Now, what are wait, there's a Dark Necrophyre in your deck? What the hell is that? Do we have any Tearlaments left in the deck to mill? We have a Sharon in the grave, 2 Sharons in the grave, which the card is semi-limited, so 0 Sharon in the deck. Where's Havnis? Wasn't Havnis sent to the grave early within this duel? Where's the Hav? Where's the Hav? There's Havnis. 1 Havnis in the deck needs to be milled. And if we didn't shuffle our deck to perform a fusion summon, the Tearlaments put them at the bottom of the deck. So I'm not sure if we shuffled our deck in any way to... Yeah, we did. Scream shuffle the deck, so we're good there. This is it. YOLO mill. Everything is dependent on this 2-card mill for 1 Havnis with 14 cards left in our deck. Are you ready? Let's go. It's no good. That's no good. That's no good. That's a bad gamba. Lethal damage. Just like that. Damn. All right, mill 2 was not good enough.